I found my wife's goodbye letter 3 weeks after her funeral. It wasn't hidden. It wasn't locked away. It was waiting. And it wasn't written for me. I always thought goodbye letters were dramatic. Something people wrote in movies. But my wife never liked drama. So when I found the letter, folded neatly inside a book she hadn't touched in years, I knew something was wrong. It wasn't addressed to me. It didn't have my name. It didn't have any name. Just 4 words written in her handwriting. For the one I loved. My wife had been gone for 3 weeks. It was a nasty cancer. The doctors broke the news using careful words. The kind that sound hopeful until you understand what they mean. Everything happened quickly after that. Too quickly to prepare. Too quietly to fight. We were married for 11 years. 11 ordinary years. Morning coffee. Shared bills. Inside jokes that stopped being funny to everyone else. I thought I knew her. I sat on the edge of our bed and stared at the envelope like it might accuse me if I opened it. Part of me already knew. The paper smelled like her perfume. The one she stopped wearing near the end because it made everything harder for her. I opened it and it read, "If you're reading this, then I'm finally brave enough to leave everything behind." My heart started racing. I've practiced writing this letter 100 times. I always stopped when I imagined your face. Your face, not mine. Though in shock, I continued reading. You were never supposed to be part of my life this way. But loving you was the most honest thing I ever did. I stopped breathing. My name wasn't there. But someone else's presence filled every line. I kept reading. I tried to be good. I tried to want the life I chose. But some loves don't fade. They wait. I felt sick. 11 years of marriage. Collapsed into the following sentences. If I ever disappear. Before I can say this out loud. I need you to know. You changed me. You saved me. And I am so sorry. For the pain this truth might cause. The letter ended there. No signature. No explanation. No mercy. I sat there for hours. Not crying. Not angry. Just hollow. That night I didn't sleep. I replayed every moment of our marriage like evidence. The way she sometimes stared at nothing. How she flinched when I asked about her past. Why she never talked about her university years. I told myself it didn't matter. She was gone. Gone. People don't betray you anymore. But grief? It doesn't care about logic. 3 days later, I went back to the book where I found the letter. It was a travel guide for Italy. It immediately struck me that we never went. Inside the back cover, there was something else. A receipt. It was old and faded. There were 2 train tickets dated 12 years ago. This was before we met. The trains led to the same destination. Florence. I don't know why I did what I did next. Maybe I needed to prove I was wrong. Maybe I needed to suffer properly. I took time off work. I booked a flight. I told no one, and 2 days later I was in Italy, headed to Florence. Florence was loud. Was alive. Indifferent to my heartbreak. I walked until my feet hurt, carrying the letter in my coat like a wound. On the second day, I found the cafe. Not because I was looking for it, but because it was described in the letter. It had read. I still remember the sound of cups clinking and how you laughed like you weren't afraid of being seen. I sat at the same table. The waiter asked if I was waiting for someone. I almost said yes. Instead, I asked a question that I didn't expect to ask. Do you remember a woman who used to come here, a long time ago? He studied my face, then nodded. She came every year, he said. Always alone. Always sad. My chest tightened. She talked about a man. He continued. A man who never came. I couldn't speak. She said he chose a different life. A life that did not have her in it. This has made her sad her whole life. She always said she lived life knowing a treasured part of her life was missing. Always feeling empty. That night, back in my hotel room, I did not know what to feel. But I never hated her. No, I loved her too much for that. Tears in my eyes, I read the letter again. This time slowly. Then I noticed what I missed before. The tense. She never wrote we were. She wrote we are. She didn't leave him. She lost him. And then she settled. For me, I was the safe choice. The good man. The life that made sense. The next morning, I visited the address written faintly. On the back of the envelope. It was an apartment building. Old and quiet. A man answered the door. Gray hair. Familiar eyes. He looked at me like he'd been waiting. She finally told you, he said. I didn't ask how he knew. He invited me in. There were photos on the wall. My wife. Younger. Laughing. Alive. In every photo she was looking at him the way she never looked at me. She loved you, he said gently. But she loved me first. I nodded. There was nothing left to defend. Before I left, he handed me something. It was another letter. This time addressed to me. It read, "I'm sorry, you were the one who stayed." I still did not hate her. But I finally understood. Some people don't cheat with their bodies. They cheat with their hearts. And some goodbyes aren't meant to hurt the one they leave behind, but the one who thought they were loved most. Once I realized this, I was healed, complete and empowered to love her in death, even with her imperfections. Thanks for listening. Every story has a key. Here we found it and unlocked the vault. This is Story Vault. See you in the next story.